Hi everyone, it's Jen. I thought I would go ahead and make a video on my updates to my hybrid visual novel RPG hero collector dice battler game that I'm trying to make in RenPy. The last video I made, I pretty much just had like the bare bones math playing. Since then, I have worked on making a menu screen in which you can deploy your units. So in the code, it looks something like this: confirm deploy. We're going to go back to our object classes. So I have this object called party, where I'm making an assignment to the front, mid, and rear positions of your kind of like party arrangement. And this is the same class that the enemy party is also. So I did make kind of like a randomized role for like assigning different units so that you wouldn't be running into the same party of enemies every time. This I just have here to reference so that if you wanted to strategize with like, oh, well, I know that earth units are good against water, then I can look at the properties of my available units and I can say that's an earth unit. I think I will deploy that unit. Once that unit is deployed, when I go to click this image button to bring up my list of available units, this unit, since they're already deployed, is no longer eligible, so it's not going to show up for that slot. I ended up making these image buttons on the deploy screen here with these call statements to open up a secondary screen. Originally, I wanted to just use the toggle screen command, but it's a little bit too reliant that the player will actually click on the screen, and so you run into issues where they might click on a different, if you have multiple kind of image buttons possible at the same time, because I wanted to give the player the flexibility to be still able to click on these image buttons to select their unit without having to commit to selecting a unit here. So when you give the player the freedom to kind of have multiple screens, image buttons open at the same time, you can't guarantee that they're not going to just kind of make a giant mess of image buttons that they don't close. So I had to make these as call statements so that I could run these call statements of hiding some of these lists, some of these image and text buttons, so that they wouldn't get like out of control if the player just continually like clicked on image buttons and didn't like close them. Let's go ahead and deploy this. So some of the features that I added, if I switch out this Earth Knight, I can look at this unit again, is that now when you click on your available unit, you have a detailed description of their attributes. The named units are eventually going to have their own unique artwork as well as animations for their special ability triggers. Right now I haven't implemented that because I'm still kind of working on making the basic artwork for just the standard common units. Once all these unit positions are filled, this confirm deployment button appears, and that's just a conditional that I go here, that it will appear as long as all of those unit slots are no longer the default none. So they all have a deployed unit. And so now I can continue with the actual battle screen. So I have some sprites here. I've got some health bars here. I've added a mechanic for the player to level up as they gain experience from battling, and once they level up, they have access to skills that drain mana, and every round of combat you gain an additional unit of mana. So you can choose to use a skill early on. That's usually kind of like a weaker skill, or you can save up your mana in case it's a long drawn out fight, and use a more potent ability. Right now we don't have any abilities that cost 1 mana, so our only option is to roll the dice. These are all screens. Originally I was going to have these character sprites with the sprite language built into RenPy, but because there are 6 different sprites that are displaying based on a variable, I couldn't get them to kind of queue up all at the same time unless I made them as screens. If anybody else has better solutions, please feel free to share them in the comments below. I should have prefaced at the beginning of this video that I am not a programmer, so a lot of my solutions are very kind of like basic programming knowledge of like variables, conditionals, and nothing really complex or beyond like what might take you, a few hours of research to learn about programming. So if anybody has any better solutions, yes, please share it with all of us. I'm just kind of interested in coming up with, like, I guess, creative solutions for what I do understand. I have tried to do some different solutions using like lists, and I really struggled on getting any of that to work. So yeah, if anybody has any other alternate solutions, and can maybe help me figure out a more efficient way of getting these functions to getting these gameplay functions to do what I want them to do, then I would greatly appreciate that. So this dice sprite is just one image, and that is also based on the character that you have allocated to that position by color and shape of the dice. So these this kind of one that's got the 10 at the end, there's a shape of a 10-sided dice, and then the 2 rogue characters have 8-sided dice. I went ahead and made a custom transform for the dice. So this is the kind of very quick spin rotation that I made to try to give the illusion of rolling the dice. I don't know how successful that was, but at least I didn't have to like animate it frame by frame. And given how many sprites I have, I thought that would be a little bit more efficient. I also made a custom transform for delaying the text, so that the number wouldn't appear while the dice was rotating, because even though it's only for like a fraction of a second, it just looks awkward, and it bothered me, so I went ahead and made like that delay for the number to fade in after the dice is finished rotating, and that I just kind of like was a trial and error guessing, like let's try this. Is that too soon? Is that too late? Let's adjust it. Which is pretty much how I do like all my positioning for like telling the sprites where to land on the screen. It's just me fiddling with the X and Y coordinates until it finally looks okay. I have more success using the so if I go to my sprites, I have more success using the X position, Y position by I think pixels than I do with the X align, Y align. It seems like that just is not as intuitive for me, or doesn't always like work out the way I want it to. So far I've been having more success by using just the X pose, Y pose. For the sprites, I have the character animation set here. It's just five frames that are on a loop, And for the enemy sprites, I have this transform with this X zoom -1. I find that works to flip the art. So that way I didn't have to have double the amount of sprites. I could cut back on that for just reusing the player character sprites for the enemy character sprites. At some point I do plan on having unique enemies, like monsters and things that the player cannot acquire to have on their team. That's goals for the future. I added kind of like this very simple, animation here, just to make it a little bit more visually clear which side won that little bout and which side was the losing side. You can see that the HP bars there are populating. I might make some kind of graphic to show like a text display of the health damage to make that a little bit more clear. Now that we have round 2 and I gained another mana, I can use this morale boost skill. That I do have as just a character sprite, which is one of the reasons why it's behind these battle sprites, because those are on a separate screen. So this one here was just programmed with the RenPy language. Now we can see that the named character, the elite unit here, went ahead and had a trigger for their special skill. And that's like based on another percentage roll depending on what your enemies are against. So this character has a special ability to have the dice value of the rear unit and the middle unit, which are generally higher dice characters. So their roll of 10 is halved down to 5. Let's see if that actually helps us. No, we still took some damage, but I guess we took 5 less damage than we would have if we hadn't triggered that skill. And some of the timing of these animations I might try to tweak. I'm not sure about this text box. I still have to go back in and customize all like the GUI for like the text boxes and for the fonts and things like that. But you get kind of an idea of how the flow of the game will be. The visual novel aspect will be triggered by mainly different conditions that the player meets, like the player level, the loyalty level of the characters. So you're going to see that after this battle concludes, I'll go back to the deployment screen. Let's go ahead and conclude that battle. So we were victorious, yay! Assessing the enemy party. So now we have 3 more random units here. If we go to deploy our named character again, you're going to see that the loyalty has gone up a point for deploying that character in battle. And so the story moments of getting to kind of like know your heroes that you're collecting is going to unlock as you use them more and you increase their loyalty score. I think that's kind of basically everything that I've implemented. I still have to go in and make the default common priest and knight sprites, and then I want to make some more of the. I want to make a couple of the unique character sprites that will be available to unlock kind of early on in the game, and then I'll probably be at the point where I'm ready to release a demo, just to kind of get some bug testing and stuff, because I'm sure there's some things that I'm probably missing, and of course I do have to go and polish this GUI. That's what I've been up to. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them in the comments below. I hope you all are having a great holiday season, and if you are working on some projects, don't forget to enjoy that process. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.